Who are you?
A ghost from your past, here to put an end to this sideshow.
You picked the wrong person to haunt.
What up guys, this is F3 here. I have watched the Karate Kid Legends trailers and I have my thoughts for this, which I am going to share in this video. Let's go. Recapping this trailer from start to finish, we see Mr. Han and Lee talk about moving to New York and leave everything behind. We also get a picture of Lee with someone presuming to be his brother. It also shows Mr. Han potentially having a family connection with Lee in some ways. Lee seems to be following the same plot as Daniel and Dre from the respective Karate Kid films, being the new kid at the new school. However, unlike the previous Karate Kids such as Daniel, Julie, Dre, and Miguel, the first thing Lee's mom tells him is to never fight, suggesting that Lee already has fighting experience and isn't starting from square zero. We also see Lee getting acquainted with someone who's a girl. When Lee's mom assumes it's a guy and he corrects her, she looks surprised. It might follow the assumptions audience might have that Lee and Mia might end up being a couple, but I'll address this later. We then get introduced to Connor Day, someone who's familiar with Mia. At the shot of the New York streak, we see Lee covering his face after seeing Connor, suggesting Connor might be Lee's bully in this movie. We also cut to the scene where Lee and Connor fight at the school, which seems like Lee lost. We also learn Connor is the Burroughs champions, the Burroughs being a local karate tournament in New York, showing the skill gap between Lee and Connor. This is a callback to when Daniel fought Johnny at the beach, as well as Dre vs Chang in the park. We then cut to the scene with Daniel LaRusso and Miyagi-Do. We see LaRusso seems to be down on his looks, and for some personal reason we don't know yet, he seems to hesitate to come to New York with Mr. Han. We also get a scene where Daniel and Mr. Han sit at a table where Mr. Miyagi and Daniel would be in Karate Kid 1. Next, we see Daniel coming to New York and says, "Let's make a Karate Kid," paying homage to the series. We see Daniel and Mr. Han being confrontational with each other, with Mr. Han saying "ancient way" and Daniel replying back with "Miyagi way," suggesting a Sensei Sifu rivalry. They also say "focus," a nod to both Mr. Miyagi and Mr. Han telling their students to focus. We see a new headband with Daniel saying "two branches, one tree," suggesting the styles of Mr. Han's Kung Fu and Miyagi-Do might have a connection to each other that this movie will explore. We then cut to shots where Daniel and Mr. Han are fighting side by side against a couple of New Yorkers. Overall, this trailer, we get that this movie will pretty much contain the bare bones of the Karate Kid storyline. New kid comes to town, he meets a girl who's a friend or a potential crush, gets into a fight with the bully and loses that fight, gets unorthodox training from a mentor, compete in a tournament to win against their bully in the tournament. Pretty standard Karate Kid stuff. Now let's get into some of the theories I think would happen in the movie. So the first theory is something must have happened to Lee's brother that made Lee's mom not wanting her son to fight. It was also a serious enough reason to, as referencing her words, leave everything behind, suggesting something very serious regarding Lee's brother that her mom is afraid of it happening to Lee. I have two possibilities for this. A very likely one is that Lee's brother died before the events of this movies, and the circumstances surrounding it are very serious enough to the point they had to leave China behind and never look back. Another possibility is Lee's brother was involved with very bad people and has put his own family in danger, very similar to how the Diaz family in Cobra Kai moved to Reseda to get away from Carmen's dangerous ex-husband. The second theory I have is a follow-up to the first theory I have, and that Lee does fight Connor, but his mother's worry of Lee ending up like his brother is what drove Mr. Han to seek out Daniel LaRusso and get his help in training Lee. The third theory is about Daniel. Something must have happened between him by the time we see him in the Karate Kid Legends, because there could have been problems between Daniel and Johnny. Again, that could have ended their collaboration, which would make the Cobra Kai plot pointless anyways. Either that, or something must have happened between him and Amanda that could have led to a divorce, though considering Kreese and Silver are presumed dead, it's unlikely. A more plausible explanation is something bad must have happened to Sam on her trip to Okinawa. Maybe she found trouble over there during her study abroad, or something very terrible must have happened to Anthony. Whatever it is, we don't have much information to go off of, so it's left open-ended. Let me know what you think though. The fourth theory I have is the follow-up to theory number 3, and that's if something did happen between Daniel and Johnny to the point they don't see each other anymore, it looks like they'll be giving Daniel a new rival in the form of Mr. Han. It seems like it's repeating the old dynamic with Johnny in Cobra Kai, where the two senseis can't agree on a style to teach their kids, a tale as old as the modern times. The fifth theory I have is it also looks like we're going to explore Miyagi-Do history and its relation to Mr. Han. In the Karate Kid Legends bringing both worlds together, we see a shot of a younger Mr. Han with an older Mr. Miyagi, suggesting that Mr. Han visited Mr. Miyagi likely after he left Okinawa and before the events of the first Karate Kid. From what we know about the history of Miyagi-Do, Shimpo Sensei sailed off to the coast of China and returned back with the secret of Miyagi-Do karate, as well as a Chinese wife and 2 kids. This could open possibilities of both Mr. Miyagi and Mr. Han being part of the same ancestry. If they are connected, they would then need to explain why Mr. Han didn't teach his protege Dre Miyagi-Do karate, but instead trained him in his jacket on, jacket off kung fu style. The sixth theory, and this is the final theory I have, and to be honest, it's not really one that I'm gonna go deep into, is that Lee and Mia won't become a couple. Instead, they'll just be a guy and a girl who just happens to be friends. This would mainly be a subversion of pairing the main male lead with the female love interest. This one is more of a prediction, but we didn't get to see Connor Sensei, but I think there will be a scene where Daniel and Mr. Han team up against Connor Sensei, whoever that might be. Because we didn't see Connor Sensei, it could be a character we have seen in either the Karate Kid movies or Cobra Kai episodes. What can we learn about Lee's fighting style? We already know Lee is trained on the foundations of Mr. Han's Kung Fu, and from the trailers we've seen, he's a very acrobatic fighter that blends parkour into his style, making him agile and nimble. Lee is considered a prodigy, however, we see that his training was not enough to help him against his first fight against Connor, suggesting his training was not adequate enough to handle street fights. However, we see Lee perform impressive feats such as using the ladder to deliver a mid-air somersault kick against an opponent before dropping down to the ground, though it's unclear if this was before or after Miyagi-Do training. With the limited data we have on Lee's fighting style, it could be inferred that Lee will have enough skill to scale to or even above Season 1 Cobra Kai members such as Miguel, Robbie, Hawk, Sam, Tori, and more. This includes by the end of the movie if we assume it's gonna end with Lee's potential victory at the Burrows. He could scale to Kenny and Devin from seasons 4 to 6, but considering Karate Kid Legends takes place 3 years after Cobra Kai, he won't scale to both Kenny and Devin at that point since they likely spent those 3 years honing in on those skills. That is it for my video, guys. So in light of the Cobra Kai series ending, you won't be seeing content of Cobra Kai anymore because the series has ended. It's now time for us to move on. Because I'm still a Cobra Kai fan, I will continue talking about the things that are related to the Miyagi-verse, such as the Karate Kid Legends and a potential Cobra Kai movie if the Karate Kid Legends is successful, as referencing Ralph Macchio's words. However, we have to consider that there's also going to be an eventual end for those two. And if you want to see more Cobra Kai content or Cobra Kai related content, here are some recommendations from my channel that I would suggest you guys to watch. So if Cobra Kai has taught us anything, it's that the right mentor can set us on the right path. But can we imagine a world without a mentor? This world is explored in the game called Sifu. Sifu makes up the second biggest content you'll find on my channel alongside Cobra Kai. It's a character action game developed by Slowclap where you play as a Pakme student who lost their father and mentor as a child and spend their entire life seeking revenge against those that took him away. And following that, I have also made simple videos on how you can play your favorite Cobra Kai characters in the game, utilizing techniques and combos that best resembles the Cobra Kai character's personality. And if you like those kinds of videos, then I'd encourage you to check out my actual Sifu gameplay videos. And in follow-up to that, I'd encourage you to check out my videos on the smoothest combos to see how you can chain different combos in Sifu and create a customized combat experience. And with that being said, I've also encouraged you to check out a video that I have edited called Pak Make It, and it's basically created using the game Sifu, but the structure captures the spirit of the Karate Kid where you learn to use new technique and use it at a critical moment. You can also find content on my channel about Cobra Kai's Dojo's Rising and the Karate Kid Saga continues, as well as the Karate Kid Street Rumble, which retells the story of the Karate Kid from series 1 to 3. I also do videos on how certain characters from other series would fight using Cobra Kai versus Miyagi-Do. This is one of the reasons why I absolutely love character action games such as Assassin's Creed, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Sleeping Dogs, because it offers enough flexible combat features that helps bring their personalities to life and offer players a novel combat experience, defining how the character wants to do combat. You can fight aggressively like Cobra Kai, you can fight defensively like Miyagi-Do, and you can define your path that you want to take. And that's the type of games that I love a lot, which is why my channel name Free Flow Fire is reflected, because those will be the type of content you'll see on my channel. There are CAG games that are coming out that I would love to play and put them on my YouTube channel, and those are Acts of Blood by the EXO team, Spine, Ninja Gaiden 4, etc. So even though Cobra Kai is ending, we may not even get more Cobra Kai content, like at least those videos will be there, so that spirit that Cobra Kai has given us will still be alive in those videos.